Historian Carol Reardon and Colonel Tom Vossler have been giving tours of Gettysburg Battlefield for many years and recently co-authored a field guide to Gettysburg. American History TV joined them to learn the story of the three-day battle through a selection of their favorite monuments.
We're here at the North Carolina State Memorial. Virginia will be actually the first former Confederate state to build a state monument here at Gettysburg, and that was in 1917. In 1927, the North Carolina Division of the United Daughters of the Confederacy decided North Carolina also needed a monument at Gettysburg. So they'll organize their political forces and their influence, and they will get the state legislature to actually appropriate money for the building of this monument, which was completed in 1929. This monument is very significant here. It's perhaps the most beautiful of the monuments on the battlefield. What it depicts are North Carolina soldiers preparing to conduct their part in the third day's attack here at Gettysburg, known in history as Picketts Charge. Actually, there's more men here than Picketts Virginians, and that's these North Carolinians. And if you can look at the monument, at the five figures there, very heroic poses and very lively. We have the fallen leader down on his knees. He knows he's not going to make it across the field. The big man just in front, if you study his face, one word should come to mind, and that word is determination. He's determined he's going to go across the field. Just over his right shoulder is a younger soldier, perhaps one not as experienced. He's horrified that this is about to happen. He just doesn't think it's a good idea. Then there's an older man there with a beard, and he's encouraging the younger man to stay the course, to stay in, just keep moving forward. And then the flag bearer pressing forward with the flag hovering over the advancing North Carolina soldiers.
It was important to North Carolinians to make a statement as bold and as stunning as this one. North Carolinians never felt that history had treated them fairly, especially here in the history of Gettysburg. In the newspapers in Richmond right after the battle, there was article after article about Pickett and his Virginians. Whenever they had to explain why Pickett's charge failed, the usual excuse was the troops that were sent to support him did not do their jobs. And sometimes they would very pointedly point to the North Carolinians as the men who had not supported the Virginians and allowed the Virginians to fall in such great numbers. Well, the North Carolinians had participated in Pickett's charge as a part of the attacking force. They did not like being called supports, and they certainly didn't like being insulted with the charge that they had not done anything less than their fullest duty. They would fight this over and over again in the Southern newspapers after the war. They would start their own magazines and journals. They would write their own histories about it. They would actually come up with a state motto after the war. First at Bethel, farthest to the front at Gettysburg and Chickamauga, and last at Appomattox, to show that North Carolinians were in the front of things. North Carolinians to this day do not generally call the attack of July 3rd Pickett's Charge. They don't want to give Pickett any more due than he's already gotten. What they preferred instead to call it is the Pettigrew Trimble Assault, named for the commanders of the troops from North Carolina who made this charge.
The sculptor for this particular monument is a fellow named Gutzon Berglund, and perhaps more famous for his work on the just massive structure out there in the Dakotas called Mount Rushmore. He's also famous for the bust of President Lincoln. It's in the U.S. Capitol building. But what Berglund will do is he'll use actual photographs of Confederate Civil War soldiers as the models for these faces that he's depicted here on the monument, and that is just that added sense of realism. You've got a lot of fluid in movement here, and it's just a very striking monument that draws a lot of attention here at Gettysburg.